Hi, this is DarkFox127 and welcome to a Creation Kit tutorial video. In today's video I'm going to be recovering the installation process of the Skyrim Creation Kit, and this is because since its release there have been a few changes, and from the time of this video quite recently there have been a couple of things which can kind of interrupt your use of the Creation Kit, which I really need to cover. So those I'll get into very shortly. Now the first thing that you want to go ahead and do is open up Steam, go under Library, hit Tools, and scroll pretty much right the way down, because it used to be called the Creation Kit, but now it's called the Skyrim Creation Kit, which is one of the recent changes. So click on that, click Install Game, then you can select where you want to install it. For me, I put it on my boot drive separate to my actual games, but it's entirely up to you, whatever drive you have. Hit Next, agree to the terms and conditions you never read, although to be fair, might be worth giving them a little read. And then you've got Create Start Menu Shortcut or a Desktop Shortcut. I won't be using either of these because I'll be pinning it to my taskbar, which I'll show you shortly. Going to hit Next, click Finish, hit Downloading, and you should see that it started to download. Now sometimes the speed plummets for some reason, but it shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes really. And as you can see, it's now ready to play. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click Play. Might have to install a couple of other things, shouldn't take too long. Wait for that to load up. And by default you might find that the windows are rather small and sort of cluttered together in the middle. If that's the case, then you can actually go ahead and move them, resize them and put them however you want them. I just put them like this sort of standard layout, but it's entirely up to you. Now as I said, I like to pin this to my taskbar, so I'm going to hover over the icon there, alt click, pin to taskbar, just going to drag that to where I want. And before I carry on, I'm going to actually close the Creation Kit. Now the reason I've closed it is because the changes that we are about to make, we do not want the Creation Kit open because they won't take effect. You'll need to make the changes and then reload it. Okay, so if you're planning on using any of the DLCs to create mods with, then you're going to need to make some changes to the ini file. Now this is going to be located wherever you installed the Creation Kit, and in most people's cases it's Program Files 86, scroll down to Steam, Steam Apps, Common, and go into Skyrim. And you'll know you're in the right folder because you'll have the Creation Kit executable and the main game executable. And you want to go down to Skyrim Editor, double click that. By default it should load with Notepad, but you can use other programs like Notepad++. I'm just going to use Notepad because it's what people will be using most. Go into General, and we want to add two new lines here. So B, allow multiple master files equals 1. And B, allow multiple master loads equals 1. Then you want to go all the way down to near enough the bottom where you get these long strings of information here. Just going to make that larger. Go under the archive section, you'll see this here, the S resource archive list 2 equals Skyrim, and you just want to go on the end here with update BSA, put comma space dawnguard.bsa comma space hearthfires, and it is hearthfires, not hearthfire, strangely enough, .bsa comma space dragonborn.bsa. So you're just going to add those to the list so that you are able to load up any of those DLCs. And the reason we put the two lines at the top is obviously, as they say, let you load up multiple master files. Otherwise it's going to cause the Creation Kit to crash and you're not going to be able to do anything. So then you want to just click File, Save. Okay, so the next thing that I want to cover is timestamps. Now if you go to load up your master files, you might notice that the DLCs aren't in the order that they were released, and this can actually be quite important because programs such as Wirebash will pick up on this when you go to install a mod, and they'll say that an ESM's master files are in the wrong order, and it's a very difficult process to try and get them put back into the right order. Now I'm not entirely sure if this is actually going to affect anything, but it's just best to have them in the correct order anyway, and that way you haven't got to worry about it later on down the line. So it needs to obviously go Dawnguard, Hearthfire and Dragonborn, which I've already done. And by the looks of it, this lists things in order of last having been modified. So as you can see, Dawnguard was the 25th of the 1st, I've set it as. Hearthfire was the 2nd of the 1st, and then 1st of the 2nd even. And then you've got Dragonborn, which was the 8th of the 2nd. So I've put them about a week apart from each other. And that's all that you need to do to make sure that they are in the correct order. And also just keep an eye on things when there's an update to the creation kit, which I'm thinking there probably won't be now, but just in case, if there's ever any updates from Steam for the game or the creation kit, you might just want to check that these are still in the right order. Otherwise, again, it could affect things. So you're probably wondering, how do I do this? Well, I use a program called Smart Timestamp. If we can get that to go away there. And you can just go ahead and install this. It's completely free. I'll leave the link in the description. I've already gone ahead and done that, so I'll load that up. And this simply lets you change the timestamps of different files. Now this is actually useful for anything else that you need to do on your computer, but we're just going to use it for the creation kit. So you want to go under wherever you've installed your game. So Program Files, 86, Steam, Steam Apps, Comment, Skyrim, and this time just going to extend this. We're going to go under the data folder, and if you go down, you'll see the ESM files for the DLCs, and all you need to do is go to them one after the other. So Dawnguard, tick modified date, and set it to something like a week back, so I'd say the 19th. Click set date and time, then you want to untick that one, then you will go to Hearthfire's ESM, you'd set that to maybe a day or two later, and then set it, and then again you'd do the same for the Dragonborn and put that, say, just a few days after that, and set date and time. And I'm not going to bother doing it because mine are done anyway, and that will make sure that those are in the correct order, otherwise you'll end up with a bit of trouble. The last thing that I want to cover is scripts. Now, whether you are planning on scripting or not, this is something that you really want to address straight away anyway. And basically what it is if we go under scripts and source, you may not have all of the source scripts for the base game visible, or loose, I suppose, as we call it. And this is the problem, because when you are in the creation kit, it's mostly working off loose files, and the scripting requires other scripts to run. And if they're not there, it's going to bring up a compilation error, and you're not going to be able to compile any scripts. So if we go under data, you'll see that there's a scripts raw file here. Now this wasn't something that was present before, but the latest update for the creation kit, which is at the time of this video, the last update, sort of made changes, and one of them was, for whatever reason, to pack all of the scripts into a raw file. Now, like I said, this causes problems, and all you have to do is make sure you've got a archiving program like 7-Zip or WinRAR or whatever you might use. Make sure you've got one of those, and alt click. I've got 7-Zip, so I've got my own little menu here, and I can just click extract here. And I'm not going to do it now because I've already done it, but it should just take a few seconds, and it should extract all of your scripts into the right folders where they're supposed to be, and you should now be able to compile scripts. And that is really it for this video, so I hope you found it helpful. Please leave comments in the comments section below, hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already, and of course any of the links that you need are going to be in the description below, and you can also check out my website, which is on screen now, at www.darkfox127.co.uk. And you can even check out all of my social media, which is also going to be in the description. So thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you next time.